What's up, this Mace? Yeah, we still do that. Okay, so like I promised, I'm gonna do a summary of the Age of Miracles. I didn't start when I actually did this video. I started it like 2 days ago and I finished it yesterday. So I wanted to do the video right now. Yeah, because I'm a rebel. Okay, so this book is a summer reading book, so I have to do it for my high school. Yeah, high school. Yeah. Okay, so it's 269 pages long. Not that long. If you're a fast reader, you can do it by 2 days or even one day. If you're a slow reader, just go by your own pace. Okay, so this book is really weird. Let's just say that first. First is this girl called Julia, and she has a father and a mother, of course, but she's an only child. And she's okay, weird, with her best friend called, what was her name again? Okay, I don't remember. Like, let's just call her Stephanie, something like that. Okay, so they were best friends. And then on that day, something weird happened. The earth started to rotate a bit slower. So, because Stephanie, Julia's best friend, her family is all like religious and stuff, yeah. So, they went to Utah, to be like praying and religious stuff and praying like for the end of the world, blah blah blah. So, Julia, now she was alone and she was a loner and she didn't have no friends. So in the bus stop, she was alone and there was this bully that picked on her and she wasn't used to it. So they picked on her and she found the reality on the world like everyone else. So after like a few months, every day became longer. Each day became longer, each night became longer. And she was suffering because she was alone, always alone, lunch alone, bus stop alone, always alone. So then, let's just skip like all the other stuff because I can't like say every detail. I'll just say like the important things that I thought was important. So, like I was saying, after some few weeks, like 2 weeks, her best friend came back, but she didn't tell Julia. So she was like, I think that's Stephanie. I don't remember her name. Sorry. So she went and like talked to her, and she like changed. After talking to her a little bit, another girl came, and Stephanie was giving the cold shoulder to Julia. So then she realized that her new best friend was that girl. And she became aware that Stephanie didn't want to be her friend anymore. So she was again alone. Again. So it's like betrayal and stuff. Friend betrayal. After a few weeks of that, when her birthday came, no, before her birthday, this boy named Seth Moreno, like, she really liked him. She was like a huge crush, but nobody knew. And he asked her to go, like, to because of the rotation, like the earth being rotating slower and slower. The birds were dying, the whales were dying, those things. So he wanted to help the whales. She was like, oh yeah, okay. But in real life, she was like, yeah, sure. That was all in the library, in school. So after school, they went to the beach to help the whales. They had a good time, some romantic, like, little kid things. That was all cool. But the next day was her birthday. So she was, like, all dressed up. She wanted to, like, hi, Seth. And be like, it's my birthday. And, like, could we hang or something? But he didn't talk to her. He was like, and she was like really hurt. And then on that same day, no, the next day, she was like really depressed. And then like after school, Seth waited for her. Like he stopped. Like he was riding on his skateboard, being all cool, and he stopped. And Julia started to walk, and like she was walking, and he like called for her. It was so romantic. So he was like, "Oh my God, he called my name?" But she was like, "Okay," and she looked back, and she was like, "What?" And he was like, "Come on," like, and she was like, "Okay, what did I do? I'm gonna follow him, you know. I'm in love with him. I know." So then she realized that he didn't say hi to her the other day because she was all dressed up, and he thought she was being weird. So and she didn't say hi to him either. So if you like someone, just go up to him, say hi, and be friends, and love will begin. Yeah. Okay. So after that, they hanged out every single day after school. They ate lunches together, and about like some days later, the first kiss. Okay, that was really girly of me, but oh well. Yeah, like I said, the first kiss. The first kiss. Sorry, pronunciation. So they were like at his house, and his dad wasn't there, and there was like like electricity problem. Everything just shut down. So they were at the jacuzzi, and they were like, yeah, and you know, boy girl jacuzzi, romantic time, duh. So he kissed her, and she kissed him back, basically. So after that, they became a couple. Every single day they were hanging out and all stuff. One day, this is not really important, but you know, it was funny. This girl, like, she was really popular. She was like inviting all the popular kids, and Julia was invited. Why? Because she was Seth's girlfriend. Sorry, sorry. And she was like, "Sorry, I don't want to go." Like Seth said, like, "I don't really want to go," and she was like, "Sure, I don't want to go either." So the girl came up to her and like, why do you don't want to go? And she was like, "Sorry, it's not really my thing." And she was like, "So I guess Seth is not coming." And she was like thinking like, "Ooh, she thinks we're a link. Alright." And she was like, "Sorry." And she was like, "Okay, I don't even need you losers." And she just ran away. I'm like, diva. So after like a while, like the earth rotation like became slower and slower. So there were more than 24 hours each day. There were at that time like they have a huge summary, so it's not that important for you guys. So it was like 70 something hours per day. So you know, like a lot of hours in the day, a lot of hours in the night. And that is when the scientists began to see that the magnetic field around the Earth was like disappearing, which is bad, you know. Of course, it's bad. Psst, everyone knows that. Okay, so that means that the sun rays are like worse on your skin. So, but okay, so yeah. So Julia had a theory that her dad was like going out with her neighbor, which was also her piano teacher, but it stopped like after the rotation like starts slowing. So she saw them supposedly kissing, but she doesn't know really. She told Seth, and he was like, "Okay, let's check out her house and like see for ourselves." Because also that neighbor was a real timer. In other words, they lived on the day but like slept on the night. So they were like up for like I don't know how many hours, like maybe like 17 hours more. At that time would be like 20 something hours. And the time, like the clock timers are the people who still follow the 24-hour schedule, which was Julia, Seth, her dad, her mom, all those people. But this woman, called Sylvia, their neighbor. She was a real timer, the last one in their neighborhood. So Seth wanted to like observe her, but they also wanted to know like what was going on. So they went there and they saw her, they talked. They saw then her Julia's dad, and she was really upset. She was like, "Oh my God, you're such a bad dad." Blah 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 blah. They went out. She was really angry, and he left with Sylvia to I don't know where. Then the next day they were like, Julia slept on not on Seth, no, like in his house, and the next day she was like all red, and Seth was all red with fever and coughing really badly. So she went back home and was like a really bad sunburn. So her mom was like, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And she started curing Julia. So you think that her dad didn't come back, but he did eventually. So she forgave him and all of those stuff. Seth, on the other hand, didn't get cured that fast. So he was like really weak, like for weeks. And then when he came back, like he was like okay and stuff. After a week, he was like again bad, and the doctors figured out that he had cancer, like his mother, who died some months back. So Julia was like devastated, but she didn't want to like let him know that she was really sad. So she was there like after school. She went there and talked to him and stuff. After the school ended, Seth like after school ended and some months later, Seth was like he couldn't move from his bed. He was horrible. He was like he looked like he was about to die. So his dad took him to Mexico, and Julia was like so upset and like that. So he like lived like he gave his skateboard to her, and he said like, "I'll come back to you someday." Like really cool. I was like, "You heart." So yeah, that was like the last romance, and that was like really at the end. So then at the like last pages reading it, she was like explaining how he never came back, and like because after he went, like after one day he left, he sent a message like, "Mexico is weird, I miss you." So that was like really cute. So after that, the internet like was cut off, the radio was cut off, everything electronic was cut off because of the magnetic problem stuff. It was disappearing. So then she was saying that like she was 11 because she was still in elementary school. She was 11 and skipped until she was 23. She was explaining how the earth had changed, how they had only 2 more years to live because of food problems and all those things. So the government, the US government, decided to make like this shuttle with the history of humans and sent it to to space. So like aliens could one day like see it like in 60,000 years from now and see the human history. At least something was preserved. So in summary, in the end they all died. They didn't find the cure, nothing. They all died because of food problems. The magnetic problem didn't really help. So it was a really depressing like story of book. My friend also read it, the same book. So it was like really depressing, not really for students. Also there were like a lot of bad words. If you didn't know bad words until you read this, when after reading this you knew all of them. So it was really realistic, I guess. Also like other of like the end of the world problems, this is like the first one that was more like realistic, I guess. Like it took more time, so it was a bit more realistic, but it was really depressing. If you're like a romantic type, I am kind of, yeah. It had romantic like moments, but that was like really at the end, really at the end. You felt really sorry for the girl. She was like had so much bad luck. You'll see when you read this, but it was pretty much a good book. At the beginning was kind of boring, middle kind of boring. At the end was the time of like wow, this is getting really interesting. But before that was kind of boring, I guess. In summary, pretty good book. Kind of depressing, a bit boring. Only at the end was actually really interesting. So that's my summary. Hope you like it. Please subscribe, like. The like button is like somewhere below. Please comment if you want me to read a book and like make a summary. If I left something off the book, or if I should like make this video better or something. Please comment your thoughts. Bad thoughts, good thoughts. Please, good thoughts. Sorry for my pronunciation. I'm not American. I'm Hispanic. I'm from Uruguay, South America. So I speak Spanish and English. I hope pretty well. I'm bilingual, so I try my best. So please subscribe, like button, comment. Bye bye.